First, I would like to start off by thanking you for joining us at the ITU UNECE conference on the Future Network Car. Together with my colleagues at ECE, and I'm sure at ITU as well, I really appreciate the opportunity to tell you what we do at the UN in order to benefit from the very fast-changing technologies, and even more to learn from you about how you see the future demand for mobility and transport services. On the heels of COP21 held in Paris last year, of the ITS World Congress in Bordeaux in November last year, the UN Summit on Sustainable Development that was held in New York in September, and also on the heels of the Inland Transport Committee annual meeting that was held in Geneva last week and ably moderated by actually Russ here he is, during the policy debate. I think this is a logical moment to reflect and ask ourselves, where are we heading with regard to sustainable mobility? What are our next steps? How can we promote mobility of people and cargo while still minimizing negative impacts of the people and on the environment? And even more specifically, how will connectivity contribute to safe, clean, secure, and efficient mobility? We intended to bring over a poster of the last week Inland Transport Committee exhibition, but because of the unexpected snowfall, we decided not to because we did not want to ruin the poster. But actually, now I will tell you that this one poster was intended to illustrate the transformation of the meaning of connectivity. Its importance, the importance of connectivity, first of all, in its traditional sense, has been recognized for the first time in the history of the UN by two General Assembly resolutions. Both General Assembly resolutions are thanks to the initiative by Turkmenistan, and it was supported by the majority of the UN member states. So you could feel proud that connectivity is politically recognized. Okay, albeit in its traditional sense, connecting by transport infrastructure. The Inland Transport Committee actually has been spearheading this traditional connectivity, transport corridor, and even network development through the trans-European motorways, way ahead of the TEN-T, but TEN-T has not only continued, but has stepped into several other categories higher about international transport network coordination, but also by the trans-European railway network. And we promote now for more than 10 years the Europe-Asia Transport Linkages project, where we identify the corridors, 9 rail, 9 road corridors, and on the corridors, with the cooperation of interested governments, the missing links and bottlenecks were identified with a monetary ticket on it. How much would it be to improve or eliminate the bottleneck? So there are project identification, priority projects, second priority projects, etc. And right now we are working very closely with a number of IFIs to put this whole information into a GIS surrounding. Not to speak about the infrastructure agreement. So traditional connectivity is well understood and well promoted. I assume that many of you in this room have already heard about the e-road network in Europe. But for the sake of those who are coming from other continents, the e-road network is an international system of route designations stretching throughout of all of Europe and Central Asia. The network includes over 150,000 kilometers of roads and includes every international and regionally important road in Europe and in Central Asia. Actually, it is the largest network of signed route designations in the world. So when you drive and you see E20 or E40 or E25, actually This is the result of intergovernmental negotiations and an agreement called AGR. Actually, the e-network has accelerated the physical connectivity throughout the continent, and through this, it boosted tourism, economic growth, integration, and stability. It also boosted car use. And now, actually, this network is being challenged by the smart cars running on the road as more and more connected vehicles. They call for connecting infrastructure. They call for a new type of superstructure. So they call for a new type of traditional connectivity, which is no longer traditional, not only in cities, but also between cities. However, while buying a new car or a truck or other road vehicle, it is the individual who decides. Individual investment decisions are made by citizens or by private businesses. On the other hand, building roads and equipping them with intelligent features is part of the national or local investment plans. And these are decided by authorities. Authorities that are responsible for efficient use of public budget. Modifying traffic rules to ensure road safety is also the responsibility of public authorities. Furthermore, when we wish to maintain or even further the development of the current level of harmonization of traffic conditions across the borders, the role of public authorities becomes even more prominent. Just to give you an example, on the invitation of the government of France and championed by the Ilan Transport Committee Working Party 1 Vice Chair, Mr. Valman, a joint informal group between the Road Safety Forum, ITC-WP1, and the World Forum for Harmonization of Vehicle Regulations, ITC-WP29, has started a policy dialogue on consistency between the different UN conventions. More precisely, the Vienna Conventions and the vehicle regulations. And when we just say a word consistency, we know exactly that we cover a lot of things, and what is the most known to the world is how much driver is in control of the vehicle. Coming back to my original train of thought, what I really wish to underline here is that on the one hand, the automotive, software, communications, IT industries are delivering technological innovations at a very high speed. And consumers are excitedly queuing up to enjoy the new features and the promised benefits. On the other hand, public authorities are lagging behind in embracing the new technologies as well as in assessing their impact and in responding through policy and regulatory changes. I hope nobody takes it wrong. I know that there are some governments who are really pioneering an innovative regulatory and authority response. But if you look at the whole world, we can safely state that public authorities, national, local, and even international, are lagging behind. So we need to catch up. These delays actually are understandable, as we do not speak here about the need for some little adjustment. Some of the technological changes will be transformational. They will bring tectonic changes in the way how we move around, we people, and how we move our cargo around. So they will warrant completely new policy and regulatory approaches. So innovations are needed not only in the technological sphere, but also in the thinking sphere. Furthermore, when it can become particularly sensitive is when authorities take a holistic approach with priority given to the interest of the citizens and users, and recognize that new and fantastic technologies can bring improvements, yes, but at the same time, they can also pose new challenges and risks. And we have to be ready to handle the new challenges and risks. 2016 is the year of cybersecurity. This is just one example. And obviously, privacy issues are brought to the front line in this regard. To add to the complexity of the new era, allow me to remind ourselves that in many countries, it has been only very recently that the transportation sector started to be deregulated. Technology shifts may be operationally relatively easy on a regulated market, but it may be, or likely will be, much more complex and difficult to achieve in a sector that is still undergoing major institutional changes, and where authorities are often fragmented and lacking important data that in the past they used to have. Finally, without volunteering to become a scarecrow here, I wish to stress that no longer can we afford to look at road mobility only. For sustainable personal and freight mobility, seamless intermodal connections and integration among the different modes would be necessary. This integration is needed not simply through physical connections, but also through integrated ticketing, schedule development, etc. Several years ago, we said that actually intelligent transport systems, ITS, can become the integrator among the competing modes. I still believe that this can be the case. But why does it take so long? Will smartphones and other new communications and information technologies make it easier and faster to improve congestion management, avoid traffic accidents, both on the roads, but also on the road and rail level crossings, reduce local and greenhouse gas emissions, increase the resilience of transport network without the need for more construction, further reduce the cost of mobility, and continue boosting trade and tourism? Will it happen? I think yes, but we have to be able to support it. So we have come together here, and I wish that the transport professionals will learn from the communication sector and vice versa. I also wish that this multi-stakeholder participation will help us think out of the box, that we will not shy away from discussing difficult and sensitive issues, and eventually we will move towards understanding policy and regulatory implications. And I very much welcome the initiative by the Secretary General of ITU to consider how we could think together on the regulatory and policy transformation in light of new developments in information technologies. And by the way, when you look at the different transport modes, even the vocabulary is different. For river information systems, actually more or less with the same functions as ITS, we say RIS, or for railways, we say ERTMS. So even the vocabulary is not harmonized for the time being. Well, with this, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for being here and ready to be engaged in an exceptional policy dialogue at an exceptional setting of the Geneva Motor Show and under exceptionally hospitable conditions, thanks to DECRA and Ericsson Automotive. Thank you for your attention.